Hey, welcome back to another episode from Life for Living Well. My name is Richard. Before I dive into the topic for us this week, I'd like to quickly say if you'd like to know one or two things about Life for Living Well community, you can check it out on our website at www.lifeforlivingwell.com. And if you like to receive weekly articles about the age article we publish on the website weekly, you can just sign up by just register with your email address, and then you will be the first person to get the article regarding each podcast that we release every week. And if you are more interested in personal book that personally I read and other people in the community have read in the past, and the book are helping them or shaping their way of behaving and thinking, you can also get some snapshot on the website as well if you go to the book section, and hopefully you might find one or two books that are relevant to you. So let's dive into it without taking much of your time. Today and this week, the topic that I will be talking about is what I call the benefit of declutter your mind. So you might ask, how do you declutter your mind? You know you can declutter your house, your store, your car, and there's a reason why that a few years ago, decluttering your house was a popular TV program in part of this world in the UK. And most people look up to that program every week because it's not the entertainment side of it. It is the psychological and emotional side of it that are on the impact of people that are actually watching it. So now take it back to personally, your mind, your way of saying, your way of thinking, your way of behaving. So you wonder, why is it that I cannot declutter my mind? But I wanted to tell you this week that it is actually possible to also bring the same approach, the same intention to your mind, because your mind is a bigger space than the space that you actually live, even big as the world it is. So your mind absorbs so many things, and you have so many items that have history, that have events, that have past, that have a present, that have a thought, that have other people's ideas and impression upon you, and you just absorb them, and gradually it coming out in a way that can be self-defeating, so limited belief. So by the time I finish this podcast, you will obviously see why you should consider declutter your mind. So, and as we normally do, so this week I'm taking a quotation from the unknown. I really can't ascribe this word to a particular individual, but the word itself was touching me that I feel so strong to use it as a starting point with the podcast. So the quotation goes like this: the more things you own, the more they own you, the unknown. And that is so powerful, because the more I think about it, the more I try to relating to it in a physical space, like your home, like your car, even with your phone, with a lot of contact lists you might have hundreds of contact people. You might actually just spoke to 2 or 3 people in that contact list. Have you ever sat down and looked at your phone and said, where are all these people in my phone? Again, it's because we as a human being, we have a tendency to keep acquire things. And the more things you acquire, the more space they fill. And in natural science, to tap into your greatest potential, which is creativity, you need space. But when there is no space, you steven out creativity in your life. And if you walk in the nature, one thing the nature will remind you is how creative you are as a human being. And you say things that were created by creators. And you are a creator individual person, that your thoughts, your ideas, you could implement it and it could become a change for good for the society, even for yourself, firstly. So, as a society, we often don't discuss or take the right actions on these issues. We don't talk about decluttering often at home. We don't even discuss it with our spouse or our friends. We just let it be. We have historical things that it has a reason why we hold on to it. Some people hold on to anger as if their life depends on it. And the more thought, the more narrative they put on it, the more they feel angry about it. So even though if you continue to declutter your mind, we know that there's tremendous benefit that is associated with it, and it's easy to measure if you wanted to know. But many people have a very strong attachment to what they own. They even have attachment to their past. They have a strong attachment to their pains that they find it difficult to let go. And the area that is so difficult to pay attention to is our mind without being intentional about it. We don't even know that what happened to us as a child has so much strong input and impact in our life, in adult life. It takes a deliberate action to take a step back, to be aware of what is going on, how it's affecting us now. And it's only when you are beginning to declutter your belief, your thoughts, the event that you yourself don't have a control about it, but you do have a control how it affecting your life. But it's only when you have aha moments sometimes, or you take a step back, or other person able to help you listen to your story and able to diagnose or able to observe where the source of that behavior is coming from. Then you begin to pay attention to it. Perhaps you're going through the healing process. Some of your healing process might be forgiveness. And to forgive, to get to the point of forgiveness, is to actually to surrender. And then your healing comes. So, the question I asked when I put in this podcast together is, why do you need to declutter your mind? You will be so surprised that you can tell a lot about someone's mind based on where they live. You get to some people's house, they put so many stuff that they don't even know they have in so many areas. Every little space in their house was full of something. They find it difficult to let go things that might be more useful for charity, might be more useful for others, or things that the others will be using every day and they have not touched it for 20 years. I have the same issues when friends and families taking pictures. So you ask, when was the last time you take a look at the picture you took last week? Never. They just give it into the archive. This is a basic human being's behavior. It's not a need, it's a behavioral things that we feel like we need to own it. You walk along the road, you saw a beautiful flowers. Some people have enough love in their self and they appreciate the flower. Some people care so much and they want to own the flower. They want to look after the flower. So they took the flower away from the original place and they put in their own garden. Flower that was a bless to many people become a bless to just an individual. So that's a behavioral things. And we all, as a human, have things that we particular about that was extreme to others. So if we don't declutter our mind, we are in danger of let our mind control how we feel, how we think, how we behave, how we act. What do I mean? By the nature of our mind, we absorb so many events, so many stories. We remember the pains, remember who created the pains, we remember how we are treated. We watch, our eyes see things, we interpret it with the thought and the collection of databases in our mind. We hear things, we smell things, we feel things, and we send all those information inside and we just absorb it. So part of the outcome of behaving and things like that is becoming to create limited beliefs in our subconsciousness that things that could help us, or we can easily becoming a self-sabotaging to our own personal need and development. So, and the first process to begin to work with our mind is start from our physical space. If you truly want to declutter your mind, I suggest that begin with your own physical space. Whether through your phone contact list, or the messages you have, or the place that you actually reside. I feel looking into things that you own, even the shoes that you're never going to wear again, the bags that you never use again. You hold on to it and you are afraid to pass it to others, or you're looking and waiting for the best time you can do it. One of my old colleagues once told me that when her mom passed away, they have to use trucks to take a lot of stuff out of her house, to the point that she even paid for extra storage where her mom put her stuff. So they have to go there and take things out and give it to the charity. You wonder why she didn't try and do that when she was here. She probably thinking so many things will be useful for her great-grandchildren when they grow up. But the times come with a lot of possession that we have. The style of the clothes, the style of the shoes, the style of the bags might not really be things other people really want to use. So, my dear people, if you truly want to start decluttering your mind, start from your physical space. This is not a message to preach frugality or modesty. It's just a simple, practical stuff. And you can learn this from the nature. Just walk around and you see how animals are like compared to we human beings. We plan for generations to come. So we hold on to a lot of things. If the dog thinks how he's being treated, he's barely going to smile to anybody that he meets on the road. And the same likewise to other animals. So let's quickly look at the benefit of decluttering your mind. There is some benefit that's being tested and observed in people that constantly have a process of decluttering their mind. Number one, clarity of purpose. So what did I mean by this? When your mind is free, you are more purposeful in your actions and intentions because there's a space. There's a space that you already created there. But if this space is filled up with so many things that have no space, there's no reason to be there. But just because of your own attachment to them, you keep it there. You are denying yourself the opportunity to be more intentional in your actions and behavior. Number two, being in the present. So have you ever been in the place where you sat down, people are talking and you're knocking your head, but your mind is far away or ahead of what you're going to have for lunch or dinner or where you're supposed to be truly be? Some people will go out dancing with their friends, but their mind will be on their food at home or be with their partner at home. So at the end, they are mixing out in the opportunity to connecting to what they are doing at that moment. So when you declutter your mind, you begin to be more able to be little manage how your mind works, because every second your mind receives messages and sends a signal out every second. And if you are not the kind of person that are very mindful about that, you have a chance to not really being present. And if you don't really present, it's difficult to enjoy that moment. It's difficult to have that moment have the impact in your life. And because that is that moment where your creativity take a lot of power. And being creative is actually bring joy and happiness to your life. So, number three, regrowth. A clear mind has space for creativity and introspection and personal growth. Again, it's similar to number two. So regrowth comes when your mind is free of jargons, when your mind is free of, when you are create a space in your mind where you declutter your mind and your past is no longer have a stronghold on your present, and your future is no longer timid or terrify you so that you are unable to take any action right now. So, and number four, real happiness. So what did I mean by real happiness? A mind free of clutter is a happy mind. And why did that be the so? Because you're able to take advantage of the present. You're able to have a purpose. You're able to create what you really want to make happen. So regardless of the setback you have the confidence, you have the courage, you have the persistence to keep it going. And gradually you overcome. Gradually you make your dream come true. And the next one is called understanding. So you can understand yourself and others much better. And that is where the power comes. Because when you're able to understand other people, you can see mostly where they're coming from. And you can also be able to protect and guide yourself because you know yourself to a point and you have some boundary that you and values that guide in your life, and those values will shape in your relationship with others. And lastly, courage. So full knowledge of yourself breeds confidence and courage. So habits of decluttering your mind will create courage for you. And courage doesn't mean that you are not afraid. It just means that you understand how fear works and you don't let it paralyze you. And you confront your fear by taking the right action. So, my people, the question is, there are few of the obvious benefits experienced by individuals who often declutter their mind. So this process is not a one-off thing. It's something that you have to do frequently. So take for example, if you cut the grass and you leave that grass for some time, or even the farm, what happens after the rain and sun? It come up again. Every time you create a space, something wants to occupy it. So declutter is the same thing. So if you take a step and you declutter your mind, it's not just that's done. It's something that is a continuous process, because the more space you create, the more things that want to occupy it, but you have a control to decide what occupy that space. What is the purpose of decluttering your mind? You are not just decluttering your mind and just empty of space. You decided, this is now what I want to put in this space, and that's how your life will begin to change for good. Because every few seconds, thoughts come, feelings, sensory things, smell, like you smell, your mind took that information, and if you don't be in charge of it, your mind is a terrible master. It could shaping and affecting how you work. Okay, finally, as I'm coming to the end, it is relevant and ethical to employ a practice of mind decluttering. How do we do that? By letting go of things that do not serve our greater goods. This is not an easy task, but requires deliberate intention. Just as it is difficult to let go of possessions that no longer serve us, it is equally challenging to release what we cannot see. So I hope this message helps someone. Until we meet again next week, please stay safe and have a wonderful week. Ciao.